nanonood yung aso sa kapitbahay.
Okay. Stop sharing. Okay, hold on. We should be live now. Ayun.
Ayan, I'm back. Sorry.
There you are. Hello.
Nag-edit pa kami ng paper. Anyway.
I think there we are. I think we're live on Facebook now. So start it tayo again.
Oh.
You just okay. Okay. Let me see lang. Other people watching already. Okay, cool. Hi everyone. That way. Hello everyone. And thank you for joining us for today's session. Introducing the innovation challenge for financial inclusion in partnership with Financial Inclusion Labs today. So today we have awesome speakers to talk to us about grassroots innovations and really talking about solutions, developing solutions for your community and localizing solutions. So we have Sir Elmer Soriano with us today, and we'll be joined by Miss Gladys Llanes to really talk about and really get into creating and innovating for the country and for your community. So for now, I would like to introduce, in order to give our opening remarks, I'd just like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Elmer Soriano. So Elmer Soriano is the Managing Director for Inclusive Growth School at Civica Asian Development Academy. As an experienced educator and consultant, Elmer's career has taken him from working with health cooperatives to humanitarian response after the tsunami in Indonesia, public health, technology, business incubation, and governance, innovations, and educational reform. So, Sir Elmer will be here to talk to us about financial inclusion and about the innovation challenge that we're actually here to promote and encourage everyone to join. So hi, Sir Elmer, take it away po.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Ariana, for that introduction. Welcome, everyone, and I'm glad to be addressing you today. Today is Monday, the week after the typhoon. No? And I remember I was teaching an elective at AIM in 2014 during Yolanda. Tama-tama, no? Yung that semester, I was teaching a course, and then Yolanda struck, and for the 2 weeks after that, parang we couldn't help but discuss Yolanda and what universities and students and citizens could do in response to that. No? So ang ginawa ko in that class, instead of making them take a final exam, I made them create solution concepts to the unfolding problems that we were seeing sa Tacloban. And sadly, we find ourselves again in the aftermath of a similar similarly strong typhoon with thousands of people affected. And nakita na natin sa social media feed natin na ang dami ng food drive, clothes drive, no? And we're seeing that there's a lot of private volunteer work happening, no? And then trying to send targeted packets of food or kung ano to friends or family in the affected parts of the country. And I think we all know that this is not going to be the last, and that is why it's important that we unlock and unleash the capacity for citizens to innovate at the grassroots level. No, hindi it is wonderful that there's volunteer work after the disaster, but I think even more important is to prevent disasters through innovation. No? And yung Financial Inclusion Lab, actually we started working on this with Bangko Sentral last year. We had planned a research forum before the COVID-19 pandemic struck. And then inabutan kami ng pandemic, and then we decided, okay, let's just do it via Zoom. And yung financial inclusion kasi at saka disaster preparedness, actually magkatabi naman yun. No? We saw that in the ayuda response, social amelioration fund, and during this pandemic, there was a total of 7 million new mobile banking account holders. No? So dati yung mga tao na walang bank account, suddenly there are 7 million new um, first-time bank account holders. And Bangko Sentral is really interested in working with the innovation community so that we can create additional value on top of these mobile banking platforms, fintech platforms, so that the Filipinos will derive more and more value from their bank accounts, mobile bank accounts. And that's why we're launching this. I'm really glad and I'm thankful to Phildev Foundation that they partnered with us, and they are mobilizing all the goodwill and social capital that they've built up with universities, university partners, and incubators, and aligning all of that brain power na nasa universities with this problem set on financial inclusion. So over the next, well, see, Kevin will give more details, but over the next couple of weeks, we will have a series of activities, and we hope that we will have really strong teams coming out of these activities. And then we actually hope that some universities will decide to set up the or host the financial inclusion lab as electives within their own universities, so that maging mas stable and predictable yung flow of students doing innovation work on financial inclusion. So thank you very much, and we welcome you to this fireside chat, and we're looking forward to hearing your ideas. Thanks, Ariana.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. And thank you for introducing the program and really getting into why we need innovation and how financial inclusion isn't just, fintech and, banking and everything. So to introduce the innovation challenge and talk more and to invite you all to join, we have Mr. Kevin De La Cruz. Kevin, go ahead. Nakamute ka.
All right, there you go. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I hope you are all safe and secure at this time. I mean, I know na yun nga, no, some of us might have just gotten their respective internet connectivity, and I think there are other people na yung power naman you already have your, of course, along with the internet comes the power for your homes, and I hope you're for those who were affected, I hope you've fully recovered at this point. And today, the invitation is also the same. Now, when you talk about the scale of us, I mean, again, Sir Elmer, thank you very much for that very brief opening remarks. And it reminded us of the need for us to really, make all our solutions inclusive. I mean, just like how we name the lab, Financial Inclusion Lab, we have to make these we have to make more innovative, inclusive and innovative solutions. And since we're talking about the effects of these disasters, all the more we have to develop the future. I mean, yes, presently, I mean, I've just posted on Facebook, na presently we might be responding to the challenges, but I think tomorrow, okay, we must develop more infrastructure, more systems in place so that we will leave no one behind in our development. So today, let me now introduce what this the challenge that we are launching actually today, alongside with our, of course, fireside chat later on. So it's so for the next 20 minutes, indulge me to present to you this, the innovation challenge called Financing the Future. Okay, so next. All right, so innovation challenge. Okay, so basically it is a 3-week competition. So we're in you, yes, you who are watching right now, university students and innovators are invited to produce sustainable enterprise solutions in response to operational gaps. So we know that we know and we recognize that institutions, even government, even the private sector, they need our help. I mean, they don't have the monopoly of solutions. We might expect them, of course, to be accountable to their respective duties. But of course, no, more often than not, no, they too will need solutions. And the main inspiration for the innovation challenge is the fact that there are so many researches, ideas that are generated in universities, even in the professional community that needs not just further recognition, but implementation. And there's so much potential that we can give to develop our innovation community in the Philippines. So in the end no of the 3-week competition, we seek to of course no give prizes and of course provide mentorship under of course the field dev labs. So our work no in I mean if you're not yet aware, no? So since you're watching this from the PhilDev Foundation Facebook page, our goal in the foundation is to alleviate poverty, okay, through entrepreneurship, innovation, and technology. And this innovation challenge is our gateway to engage you in providing these solutions. And the goal of the challenge is, of course, to discover and develop people-centered innovative ideas that can make financial resources inclusive and accessible to everyone. So the challenge, the 3-week competition, no? So others might find it long, others might find it short, but what makes this distinct, no, from the other competitions we might have been participating in is it's really um, it's yes it's a competition, but it is also a learning experience because in generating ideas, it's very important for us for you, yes, our future participants to be immersed on the issue. Yes. Next. And the implementers, of course, it's Field Dev Labs. So we provide the platform for partners, innovators, and entrepreneurs to explore and develop innovative solutions. And our partner for our second official innovation challenge is the Financial Inclusion Lab, which is, of course, an initiative of the Civica Asian Development Academy and the Inclusive Growth School. So the goal of the Financial Inclusion Lab is to cultivate synergies and co-innovation amongst various sectors and stakeholders in generating financial inclusion innovations in the communities, wherein it will be working with. So given our similar mindset to generate solutions from universities and from our innovators, we're now working together. Yeah, for the very first time. Next. So let me tell you, no. So right now, you might be asking, okay, why do I need to join the challenge? Yeah, we're facing all these disasters. We're facing all these challenges right now, no, including the pandemic. But why does it matter right now? Okay. So first is, let me tell you that financial inclusion protects the vulnerable. So through the innovation that you will have, no, we will actually engage the sectors that are of course ravaged no by I mean that are ravaged all the more by these disasters. So they become as you can see here, no, they become much more vulnerable due to loss of livelihood, access to necessities, and hopefully through your innovations, we can connect them to assistance and services that can help them survive these trying times. Yes, so we have the typhoon, we have all these floodings. We hope to provide the next option for the people. No, yes, we can provide them food, but what's next for them in terms of their livelihoods? Next, of course, no. So other than, of course, protecting the vulnerable, we enhance economic empowerment. So access to financial products and services would help individuals, families, businesses to take care of present needs. Okay. So right now in the Philippines, no, we are averaging 6.5% GDP pre-COVID. yes, no, relatively good improvement, but the problem is it reaching what we consider no as the what we can say no the people in the bottom of the pyramid, no, or we can say the people who need access, urgent access to these services. So we are hoping no that that through your innovation we have they will have a plan B and a plan C in their lives. Then next is financial inclusion fuels innovation, creativity, and market growth and sustainability. So we're talking about enterprises. I mean, enterprises right now, they are the what we consider as one of the main components of urban development, okay, around the country. So where there are businesses, there's employment, there's some revenue generation. So we hope that by including our farmers in the process, they have access to capital and other financial resources. And lastly, financial inclusion enhances ease of governance. So governments right now, local government, national, no, they provide an avenue to develop business, to help businesses have, let's say, licenses, help citizens have access to funding, to social services. So we hope that your solutions, okay, can easily distribute welfare services, improve transparency, and track effectiveness of our existing policies. Yeah. So there's a lot that you can actually do in this challenge. Next, there. So it matters. And in the Philippines, no, well, we are actively pursuing the propagation of financial inclusion. So of course, we have Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, whom we're hoping, no, whom actually we look forward to actually working with them, no, further on the innovations that will be produced by this challenge, and of course through the learning sessions, if if you will participate, no. So we will be working with them and hopefully, no, bringing more awareness to people in the Philippines and your communities about what financial services can be made available to them. Then in Asia, we are still relatively unbanked, no? More and more people. So think about the farmers, think about women organizations, no? They need a lot of help in terms of availing these e-money services. And of course, we have your smart money and GCash, but of course, there's so many services, no, such as insurance. We're also talking about financial management systems and their cooperatives. So we need to include them in the process. No? Then although improving, only 29% of the population has formal accounts. So even fewer are accessing other services. So there's so much that you can do. Okay. And the gaps in account ownership and use of financial services are driven by income factors more than locality and geography. So there's a lot of gaps in the process that will make people have bank accounts. I mean, just a little anecdote, no, when I was still working for the government before, no, running the Sustainable Livelihood Program, there are a lot of communities that are in need, no, if not for the service of, let's say, the local government reaching out to them to provide livelihood opportunity for cooperative groups, they will not be setting up their own bank account. So it's not even just the access, also the awareness that's important. So that's where we are right now. Next. Okay, so given these things, no, given all these national and local situation, given the importance of financial inclusion, this is what we are inviting you, no, to participate in. So we want you to solve through your innovations this question: how might we make financial services and resources accessible to the underserved sectors or groups in our communities? So how do we bring these insurances to farmers in Central Luzon, let's say? Or how do we bring these financial management platforms so that people, let's say in Mindanao, okay, so in the different portions of Mindanao will be able to know how to manage their own livelihoods or to conceptualize their own enterprises. So there's so much that you can actually propose, no, given the problems in your respective communities. There. Next. And we recommend though that the innovation that will be developed, of course, number one, I mean, since you will be doing, of course, no more of you will be doing your own research, no, with regards to prior to, of course, solving the problem, no, through your innovation. It has to be, of course, people centered. Through the information that you'll be getting, we hope that it addresses a particular pain point of an identified underserved group sector in the community. So you, let's say you can be an NGO worker, you can be an innovator, let's say in Butuan or in Leyte or right now in Cebu. You can actually work on this, no, given the communities you've always wanted to serve. So we're here to help. We're here to help you out. Then next is should be able to touch on one of or more of the following components of financial inclusion. So number one, the most important one is access, ability to use available financial products. So we need you to develop um, this no platforms that people can easily download or utilize. No. Next is quality, relevance to the lifestyle needs of the consumers. Okay, so you have different attitudes, opinions, so different perspectives. I mean, farmers will think about their farming and, of course, their families. Entrepreneurs, even the entrepreneurs now will start thinking how can they manage their inventory, how can they manage their financial rather, no, their cost and revenue, no, their costing and their cash inflow. So what are the solutions for that? Then usage, regularity, frequency, and duration of use of a financial service or product. How can people have access to loans? How can people access banking services? Then impact or welfare, change in the lives of consumers that can be attributed to the usage of financial products or services. So all of these four, these are very important. No? Then lastly, no, user friendliness. Interface should be easy. It should be easy enough to be used by users of varying experience. So all of them have definitely have their way. No, I mean, given their different work environment, their community environment. No, so what will make them utilize it for years to come? There. Next. And right now, if you are thinking, okay, so I have a community that I want to help, I wanted to develop a solution, I want to learn more about financial inclusion, then you are the person we're looking for. So if you want to join, okay, please do register now, okay? So you form a group of 3 to 5 members. You can come from universities, community-based organizations, youth organizations. If you're working for a company and you want to do this on the side, that's fine. Okay, you might be at your home trying to find a job. Before you find a job, please do join first, no? Maybe this is where you can find your uh, your next startup idea, no? You can develop that. Then next is you're interested to start a startup or social enterprise. So our challenge for you is to develop an enterprise solution. So we consider business model development. Then reliable access to Wi-Fi and a computer for online communication. Because this will be a 3-week journey and we will be having a lot of sessions. So I hope that you're able to participate. Next. Then for your innovation, we're looking for these 3 things. So we'll discuss this once you join. Okay. So we wanted scalability, innovativeness, and relevance. No, with the innovation you will be passing. So I hope you get to participate. Okay. There. Next. All right. Then, of course, we have prices. Okay. So we're going to be announcing if you register. Okay. So please do register. Okay. Next. So prizes will be given away to the winners. And of course, you don't just gain prizes, but you also gain new skills, new knowledge, and connections. So this is not just a competition, but a way for you to expand your skill set so that even after the challenge, no, you're able to still sustain your engagement with us, engagement with your other networks to develop the innovations. Next. And the impact, of course, right now, it's not just the new normal, okay? I mean, the new normal in the Philippines has been defined by a lot of disasters, no, recently. I mean, yung normal natin, we are not yet able to reach, no? Parang the standard is getting different, no? I mean, it differs every month because of all of these challenges we're facing. But we hope that your solutions will really help reduce inequality by providing opportunities for the marginalized, no? Right now that they need more your help. Then contribute to business expansions, job creation. Then we're hoping that the local government will help fuel local growth and innovation. So, by the way, if you're on Facebook right now, if you have any questions, feel free to write your questions in the comments portion so that we can answer them. Yeah. And next, of course, we have this challenge. Okay, so for 3 weeks, we have these sessions. Okay, so I hope you join so that you can attend and learn more with us. Next, and then we also have mentors. So again, join us. Talagang ano, no? I'm encouraging you to join because we have mentors who will be willing to support you in your learning and in generating your solutions. So our deadline, okay, is this well, no, our deadline will be on November 20th. Okay, so we opened the registration last week already. We've been posting it in our website, in our social media page. But we hope, no, when you're seeing this for the first time, no, you can now, place your details in our application form. Then if you're still not yet convinced, okay, please do invite your friends, okay, to join us this November 18th to attend a discussion on data-driven innovation with, of course, the Development Academy of the Philippines. Then we hope that when you invite your friends, you yourself, you get all your details be placed by November 30. And then we open our challenge on November 23. Yeah. Next. So there, okay, next. All right. So we hope to have you on board. But of course, no, you need to place your details on this website. So please do visit phildev.org/the details on the innovation challenges. So please do click on the menu, PhilDev Labs, and there you will be finding the FIL Innovation Challenges page for the registration form. Okay, but we'll be posting this on our page, no, on our Facebook page. If you might forget this, no, if you might forget this later on, no, we will be posting this link. Okay, so next. So okay, so there. Thank you very much, and we look forward to your applications. So there.
Thanks, Kevin. So yeah, really the point of what we want to do is to really encourage everyone to join the innovation challenge, and that's why we're talking about grassroots and community. This is really to encourage you to create solutions for your community. Yes, yes, diba, Kevin? Okay, so moving on now to kind of like the discussion part of our program for today. It's going to be a very simple program, but I swear to you, it's going to be very informative. We have a very special speaker. We have Miss Gladys Llanes, the co-founder of Development Innovation Insider. She is an entrepreneur and documentary film producer and director based in the Philippines. She co-founded Development Innovation Insider, a content creator and solutions provider firm based in Asia Pacific that focuses on scaling up grassroots initiatives through media content creation, research, and consultation. Under Development Innovation Insider, Gladys produces documentary films and short videos focusing on social justice and grassroots initiatives, sparking conversation and action. She is also the editor-in-chief of Change Magazine, The Insider. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. The Insider's online magazine, which serves as a media hub for social entrepreneurs across the globe. Hi, Miss Gladys. We're so happy to have you here. Thank
Hello.
you so much for joining us today. I'm actually going to hold on. I'm actually going to allow you to kind of give like your initial insights on grassroots initiatives, especially here in the Philippines, especially here in the Philippines, because this is really where you can see it happen. But unfortunately, there aren't that many. So yeah, so if you could give us like your initial insights on grassroots innovation.
Yes. Well, first of all, salamat sa pag-invite. Hello everyone na nanonood. Maybe I'll also start with apologizing to you guys because I'm in a grassroots community. Alam mo naman sa Pilipinas, maraming mga tricycles and other noises na kung nasa bahay ka lang work from home. So ayun, baka makakarinig kayo ng mga tricycles and stuff. So yeah, first of all, maybe I could introduce what we do in the Insider so that you'll have an idea why are we doing this for the grassroots communities. So as Ariana said, I'm the co-founder of the Insider or Development Innovation Insider. So we are a content creator and solutions provider for anyone who is working for social impact in the grassroots sector. So that includes NGOs, government, academia, communities themselves, and of course, social enterprises and innovators. So as a content creator, we create communication and media materials to scale up the voice of the grassroots themselves. So through innovative and human-centered approach, so like documentaries and also short videos, we also do solutions journalism articles and so on. At the same time, we also do on-the-ground researches for our local, with our local teams and do consultancy for organizations for their needs, especially in terms of scaling up their initiatives. So I am very pleased to be here today talking to you about how to create innovative grassroots initiatives because personally, I think the topic is long overdue. There are a lot of crises that are happening in the country. It is very high time for us to discuss and to hear the voices in the grassroots because lately we can see na these communities are very vulnerable in terms of disasters, calamities, and other crises that are happening. And also with that, our mission in the Insider is that we wanted to help innovate solutions with the grassroots and also urge them to see what are the root causes of the problems that will help mitigate sustainable solutions. So as for the question na sinabi ni Ariana, I think it's really good to talk about grassroots communities innovation right now because often we hear na how do you say that, like problems these big problems are causing effects to these grassroots communities and it's hard to build back again kasi start na naman sa baba. But if we have a solid on the ground innovations in hand, it would be very easy to build back all these maybe calamities or any other things that are happening because we already have some solid system on the ground and rare siyang makita sa Pilipinas. So I think we need to talk about it and to engage more about the topic.
Thank you po. Thank you for that. So ma'am, if I could just invite Sir Elmer to come back. Hi sir.
I'm
Hi
back.
sir.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so we can get into the discussion, and sir or Miss Gladys, feel free to just jump in whenever you feel like you have things to say. But Sir Elmer, I just wanted to touch on something that I mean that we discussed a while ago, but kind of if you could talk about it, just so yung mga participants natin, yung mga future and potential participants natin are not overwhelmed. So financial inclusion, if you could just get into it, it's not just about fintech or kasi di ba parang when people hear the word finance, you think banking ganyan, I need math, parang ganon. So what like if anyone could just talk about what financial inclusion is and how it can really encompass sort of everything.
Okay, good question. In fact, I've been trying to figure out how to answer that question so that it's easier. So let me try this explanation with you. No? So financial inclusion, imagine na meron kayong kasambahay and I don't know how much the kasambahay makes, 5,000, 7,000 or ganyan-ganyan. And you imagine that she will be with you for the next 5 years. No? So 7,000 times 5 years, that's close to 500,000 rin in cash. No? Yung
Yeah.
7 times 12 is around 90,000 or 80,000 times 5, 400,000 rin yun. No, but you don't want, 5 years from now, you want her to go home na meron siyang shares of stock sa Ayala Corporation. Kahit hindi marami, pero nagsimula na siyang mag-invest starting year 1. And then gusto natin na may nakabili siya ng insurance kahit konti, na may PhilHealth yung anak niya, yung asawa niya, so that if something happens to them, diba, they have at least PhilHealth coverage. No?
Yeah.
And then you want her to have a bank account na medyo, diba, pag uwi niya doon, meron siyang, pagdating niya, pag uwi niya sa probinsya nila, meron na silang small store na napondohan na over the 5 years and it's generating its own cash flow.
Yeah.
Based on na parang napaikot lang nila yung 6,000 a month na binabayad sa kanya bilang kasambahay. And it did not, kasi for many of us, even myself, no, when I was younger, when I got a credit card, I got myself into credit card trouble. So just having credit or just having cash does not empower you.
Yeah.
No? It's easy to squander our income. No, so financial inclusion is not just having a bank account, no, but having access to the right services, credit, financial literacy, so that over time, no, yung cash flow that you have, no, or your family has, creates as much long-term value for you and your family.
Okay.
I don't know if
Yes.
is that a good explanation? I mean, I've been trying to figure out how to explain this in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But that was my attempt at giving a deeper explanation, semi-short explanation on what is financial inclusion.
Yeah. So it's really all about it's just access, right? Alam mo yun, parang it's not even it's I don't know. I think like GCash could be an example of that because it allows people to make payments without having the minimum bank ang tawag doon, minimum bank amount. Bank balance, yeah.
So many IDs. So.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people in the grassroots communities actually don't have even government IDs or any of the resources that they need. So Miss Gladys or even Sir Elmer, again, you just feel free to jump in if you feel like it. So how exactly can, let's say, grassroots initiatives sort of assist financial inclusion as opposed to waiting for companies like Globe and CIMB to really jump, to provide the help? Why are grassroots innovations kind of like what is needed, or rather what is important in creating solutions for the community?
Maybe I could share a little bit.
Go ahead.
Kasi I would say I'm not a financial like expert kasi media talaga ako at saka sa more on the grassroots itself because that's our target people. Pero I think it is very important to have grassroots initiatives kasi iba-iba kasi yung situation sa grassroots. So, you cannot say na sa Mindanao, ganito yung sitwasyon nila, and then iba din dito sa Visayas. So, it is better and it is more sustainable kung manggagaling agad sa grassroots yung kanilang solutions because they know their situation and as I said, iba-iba yung situations in these places. So when maybe like Globe or sorry, I think I lost my video, no?
No, you're well.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. I can still hear you. It's fine.
Okay, ayun. So sana ba? Yeah, so for example, kung yung Globe ay nag-work sa Manila, maybe it doesn't work in let's say Mindanao
Yeah.
kasi iba din yung situations nila doon. And as I said, iba-iba yung challenges din. So mahirap siyang there would be a lot of uh, like not changes, but there would be a lot of
Differences.
differences, I would say. So I think, and also there's a sense of ownership if it's from the grassroots itself.
Yeah.
So mas mag-i-invest yung mga tao kung feeling nila makaka-benefit sila at galing talaga sa kanila yung effort, rather than someone going there and saying, oh, ito yung gawin nyo and stuff like that. So for them, sometimes hindi siya nag-work nga kasi hindi sila nakaka-relate. So it's better if they can relate it to themselves, apply it to themselves, and para mas sustainable, I would say, yung projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I'd like to share my notes on that. So my first job after school was setting up health microinsurance programs with cooperatives. No, the first one was in the Mindanao, and then after that we did more in Luzon. And I agree with Gladys. So ang ginagawa namin, maghanap kami ng existing cooperatives on the ground. Usually stable na sila, 5, 10 years or more in operation. And then we just teach them how to design a health microinsurance for themselves. No? So madami sa mga co-ops, meron na silang parang mortuary insurance or damayan, ang tawag nila damayan. So when somebody passes away in their own co-op, everyone contributes say 100 pesos each. Eh kung 1,000 yun, eh di 100,000 pesos kagad yun. No? And they know that sooner or later it will be their turn to contribute. No? Pero how much to contribute, sila magde-decide noon whether it's 50 pesos or 100 pesos. Ngayon, who will collect? Sila rin. No? Pag sila nag-collect, mas mura yung cost of collection kaysa yung tagalabas pa yung mangolekta ng tagwa 100 from all of them. So the advantage of working with local institutions or local organizations is, one, yung transaction cost is lower. No? Two, yung information, ang tawag doon, information asymmetry. Parang kung tagalabas ka, i-research mo pa. Pero kung sila sabihin mo, okay, mag-decide, magkano bang kaya ng mga tao? They just, magkano kayang sa inyo? Ganyan. No? So among themselves, they decide and they determine how much they can afford. And wala kang research cost doon. Sila magtatanong. And then enforcement rin. No? They are able to hold each other accountable to the collective action that they had agreed upon. No? Hindi taga Manila pa yung magbabantay na mag-audit pa kung ginagawa lang tama. Because it's their, gaya nga ng sabi ni Gladys, mataas yung sense of ownership. It's their money. It's their health program. So they will take care of it. And then they self-correct based on their own parang judgment. So hindi nakasalalay sa taga Manila na decision makers.
Yeah. So it's really all about, kasi they understand where they are. They understand, and I in my experiences in dealing with social enterprises, it's really all about your why, and parang how can you solve a problem if you don't know what the problem is, right? Which brings me to my next question is that so issues like this in our country especially have been around for a very long time, and so why haven't, or rather why is it a little bit difficult for these communities, or what are the obstacles that stand in their way in terms of creating solutions for themselves? Or saan pa pwedeng lumaganap yung Pilipinas?
Sige, mahirap yung tanong mo, so si Gladys na lang.
Based on what you see na lang.
Actually, there are a lot of factors for sure. I guess number one is that hindi naman to tinuro sa atin sa school. I mean, that's number one. Mahirap siyang sabihin na, okay, magsastart ako ng own business or business with the community pa, no? Kung na hindi naman tayo tinuruan dyan sa school. So I think that's very basic number one, I would say. Number two is that the opportunity. So I think gaya na sinabi ni Sir Mark kanina ata, so sabi niya na access and ano nga yung isa, access and yung alam mo pagka awareness, yeah, access and awareness. So because more Manila centric talaga yung mga
Yeah.
innovations. Ang daming hackathon ngayon. Yes, I
Yes.
think uh this hackathons and all these opportunities are booming. But if we look at it, it's very Manila centric
Oo.
at hindi talaga nai-engage yung communities. And sometimes, magiging top-down ulit siya. Kasi from Manila and then pupunta dito sa communities na to. So, still it's the same thing. And I think opportunities like this na nandito na tayo online, it might be a good way as well to start because nakaka-engage na tayo in different parts of the country, I would say. And then awareness. So, kung hindi tayo in-inform sa school, mas lalong hindi tayo masyadong in-inform sa media. I think this is also one of the things why I started The Insider. Because I'm from the media industry, I really didn't see a lot of media platforms who are doing like stories about social innovation, grassroots social innovation. So this is the reason why I became a documentary filmmaker. I also create some online magazine which focuses on social innovations on the ground. So ayun, I think that's uh, yan lang masasabi ko for now. I guess Sir Elmer can also add.
Well, I agree with Gladys na yung educational system kasi natin, yung focus is to get the, di ba, yung makita natin yun in the at the gates of schools, board passing rate yung major bragging no, parang ang so dominant or primary nila objective nila is to get the students to pass the board exam and then di ba? And therefore, the educational system equips us to uh, cough up the right answer to the textbook problem set or the board exam problem set. Pero yung problem set in the real world, parang hindi natin na-acquire yung confidence na yun. Kakayanin natin to, no? Yung let's look at the financial, di ba? How can we figure out, how can we design a financial inclusion solution for the taho vendor who walks past our home every day? Parang we have smart people pero hindi na-acquire yung angas, yung confidence, or yung pagkapilyo na
Yeah.
paniniwala na isipan nga natin ang solusyon yan.
Yeah.
But we have the raw intelligence, but I think the educational system steers us away from solving problems like that rather than steering us toward solving problems like climate change and flood, which, di ba, haunt us. These are real problems. And ang natututunan na natin is nagiging victim tayo nito and we're not able to level up and become solution providers to our own problem sets in our own backyards.
Yeah.
So I agree that the education system sort of weakens this capacity. And that's why I'm glad that PhilDev, and that's why we work with PhilDev, no? Because we thought that, okay, let's take these problem sets to universities all over.
Yeah.
Para, di ba, kahit na hindi pa masyadong alam to ng mga university faculty, but we're challenging the students to think of real solutions to real problems, real world problems. So I actually think that our activity is also an educational reform intervention. No? It's also grassroots. No? By pushing it away from Manila and saying, hindi, lahat tayo pwede mag-join, I think that expands that the circle na hindi yan pang Manila lang.
Yeah.
Lalo na via Zoom. No? So now I think it's a good time to do this on a large scale and engaging thousands of students. because the technology allows us to engage them equally, whether you're in Manila or in Mindanao or Batanes. No, if you can join this online, then okay, in na in ka. You are equally in as the guy in Quezon City. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So for everyone's reference, to register, you really just need to go online. You don't need to be anywhere at any specific time. All of the activities will be online. So there's no venue factor. Alam mo
Oh,
yun,
walang
there's no.
barrier now. No?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah,
Diba? So we invite everyone to join. There will be shameless plugs all throughout this discussion on joining our innovation challenge. But going as you said, Sir Ngana, we want to kind of steer our students in the country towards being able to solve problems, and being empowered to solve the problems on their own, as opposed to sabi nga, a lot of as you mentioned, a lot of our education system really gears towards becoming an employee rather than which is not bad, but like rather than empowering for really nation building and solution making. So how do we solve yung parang, kasi diba nakaka-daunt, like itong recent typhoons, plural, recent, like all of the typhoons, it's a little bit daunting, hindi ba, to think na, shucks, how do I solve climate change, or how do I solve financial inclusion, which will lead to no poverty? How there's such big problems na parang feeling mo na hindi ko kaya yan kasi ang laki-laki. Like, how do we kind of either take away that mindset or reframe it para in order to really start from community, and as you said, from the bottom up? Anyone can answer.
Sige, well, sige, ako naman muna. Well, I think, I'm glad you invited Gladys, kasi I think ang roots niyan is, what story do we tell ourselves?
Yeah.
Diba? Do we tell ourselves that, okay, we'll be victims of this and we're helpless? That's one storyline that we can embrace. No? Hay nako, pahirap ng pahirap. Hay nako, typhoon na naman. No? And that's a narrative. No? But it can be replaced by a narrative of hopefulness
Yeah.
and design thinking. Di ba parang, di ba, gawan na nga natin, and I suddenly remembered. So after Yolanda, we had a design thinking workshop sa Tacloban with several municipalities. So we taught them, we gave them a quick workshop. Tapos ang naalala ko, isang prototype na ginawa nila na maliit was a floating pig pen. No, floating pig pen. So may tabo and then may popsicle sticks, as ganyan. So tinanong namin, natawa kami. Bakit floating pig pen? Sabi niya, para pag may baha uli, ang isipin na lang namin, yung lumikas iligtas yung pamilya ko. No?
Hindi na yung pig.
Hindi mo na, i-assume mo na lang, nalulutang yung pig pen, tapos pag bumaba na, nandun pa at buhay pa yung baboy mo. No? So it was funny and amusing. But, we shared that at a forum at AIM a few years later. And then an engineer said, hey, you know what? I can build that. I can help build that. No? So parang, but it's a story. It's the reframe nga eh. No? Yung, if we're able to invite thousands of Filipinos to say, you know what? We do not have to be victims forever. No? We can solve many of these problems. We just need to awaken our capacity to think our way out of it. No? And that's why I think we're glad we have a storyteller in Gladys na kinakareer itong how to tell the story more developmentally. No? And maybe Gladys can speak to that.
Yeah, I think I could add, as a storyteller, sabi nga ni Sir, I have a lot of experience doing immersion work. Personally, parang kahit hindi ako nag-work for a project, I would just really love to immerse myself to different communities. So, nakikita niyo ako palaboy-laboy sa mga isla and bundok. But I just love to know more about their stories. And I think you will be surprised na yung mga solutions na hinahanap natin, actually it exists within themselves, with the communities itself. Kasi especially in indigenous people communities, they already have a lot of knowledge. It's called ecological knowledge. Na it works for 100 thousands of years, and we just didn't tap it out. Maybe yun nga because of our way of thinking right now na parang naging top down na tayo, but we haven't heard stories about their kung ano yung mga solutions na nasa baba. That's why it's very important to have more research immersions. I would really recommend immersions, because then you'll know a lot of stories where you can innovate. I like this word innovate because there are already solutions that are happening on the ground. Maybe it just needs to be innovated so that it's more efficient, and we can tap in more technology in that. So boom, you have your solutions out there. And I really I really like the word also innovate with the grassroots rather than for the grassroots, because I really believe na meron ng nag-i-exist na solutions sa kadami-dami ng problema. For sure ginagawan niya nila ng paraan. Pilipino pa, madiskarte yan. So for sure there's already a lot of those solutions that we are seeking. It's just that sometimes ayun, kulang lang din sa technology, kulang lang din sa innovation. So we can scale up it more, make it more sustainable. So yeah, I guess for those who wanted to join this kind of competitions, talk to your communities. You might be surprised na merong mga innovations doon.
Taking off from that, so yun nga, speaking to everyone who wants to, potentially who's considering joining or is like, uy, parang interesting to. What factors should they take into consideration parang when they create their solutions, when they develop their innovations? What factors other than what you've already mentioned, what other factors should they be thinking about in order to be a little bit, successful, in order to win? Si sir na lang.
Sige. Well, I'm thinking yung financial inclusion sounds like an abstraction that, di ba, it sounds like jargon that many people probably are hearing for the first time, no, if they're
Yeah.
not in the development space. Ano ba yung financial inclusion? Financial plus inclusion. No? Um, uh, but I think, yung tapping yung Filipino psychology, inisip ko it's important na yung hanapan natin kung paano ito naaabot ng ating dama
Yeah.
and naabot ng ating malay, no? Because if it is too abstract and far away, parang it's hard to mahirap magkaroon ng hugot pag hindi mo abot malay at hindi mo abot damay, no? And I think yung ang pwede off the top of my head, no, ang pwede to awaken that our participants or viewers, they just think of a relative, no, na kung if they feel well off sila and they don't feel na they are personally troubled by financial inclusion, they have their bank account and credit cards, think of relatives di ba, out sa probinsya, no, na uy si kuya or si yung pinsan ko, yung pamangkin ko na no, alam ko nandun lang sila sa probinsya pero matagal nang walang trabaho si tito ganyan no, and then so that they feel that it's part of their family but there's a need that is unmet, no. I think that will allow them to empathize better and they will feel like kasama pa yun sa sphere, kapamilya pa yun, no? Hindi some abstract Filipino beyond their parang emotional, the boundaries of the family. Parang ma-realize na, sa extended family ko pala, may mga kapamilya pala ako na posibleng mangailangan nito, and then if they know them well enough, the cousin or the pamangkin, they just imagine yung na they're designing it for that family member. And I think financial inclusion becomes less of an abstraction. They say, oh nga, paano kaya kung magkaroon ng GCash si kuya no? And then paano pa kaya na magkaroon pa ng dagdag na value kasi may Android phone naman siya para kung gaano kadali para sa akin na mag-order ng something na i-deliver sa bahay ko. Ganon rin maging kadali na mangutang siya para sa pataba sa bukid or something like that. It becomes more concrete and more
Yeah.
personal. Off the top of my head siguro, pwedeng ganon yung subukan nila.
How about you, Gladys? If you have any thoughts on what other things they should parang consider when they're creating solutions.
Yeah. At the top of my head, I think if they know a certain community, they already know a certain community, or they are part of a certain community, I think very better if they are part of it. Kasi you will ensure sustainability. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure yung mga funders natin, no, they will look into sustainability because then yun naman talaga yung kailangan natin ding makita sa isang project. So, to ensure sustainability, one must also know that the community is willing, or, you know, ayun, like in the long run, kasama din ang community para makita din ng mga funders natin na, okay, I would say na magpa-fund ako dito because I know for a certain fact na because they have a community already, we'll fund them or something like that. Another one is a great team, I would say. Kasi,
Yes. Very group work.
yeah, having a good team, solid team is very important para makita din yung credibility kung saan pupunta yung project ninyo.
Yeah.
So, ayun, you must think of that as well. Pero hindi kayo dapat ma-intimidate with these things kasi for sure, this is just the first step. Kung ikaw lang mag-isa yung gusto nito at baka hindi ka makahanap ng ibang teammates na super solid or ano ba, still, go lang. Because for sure, in the long run, baka makakita ka din ng ibang teammates na mas mag-click sa'yo. So, yeah, one is a good teammates as well. And I would say, communities, good stories. Like, wag kang mag-imbento ng kwento. It's better if it's authentic so that makikita mo talaga yung impact na gusto mong gawin as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can think about it in sustainability and impact. I think may great chance to get this maybe to win this incubation. Is this an incubation program, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Parang ganun. Parang ganun. Something like that. Yeah, and I just want to clarify to kind of everyone, I guess, who's listening in or who will be listening in and watching this in the future, that we, as you know, in this innovation challenge, we don't expect you to kind of solve, financial inclusion or the problems of solve the whole financial inclusion with just one solution. It's okay to kind of start small, which is actually why we're encouraging grassroots and why we're talking about grassroots initiatives, because it is important to start with your community and start with the problems that you are familiar with. We don't expect na masasolve niyo yung poverty with your solutions. It can always scale up to that, but it's the point is to not be intimidated by creating solutions like this. And it's really again, and there are many aspects and there are many there are many phases to financial inclusion. Just talking about having access to the right services and the right resources, that's insurance, that's banking, that's income. It's a lot of, it's many things. So you can always just focus on one and then kind of develop it from there. So like, don't get intimidated by the term financial inclusion and think it's just such a big problem to solve. So yeah, we're sort of like gearing towards the tail end of our discussion. But Miss Gladys, I just wanted to ask, because you have been on the ground, diba? And you've seen these grassroots initiatives. So it is possible, diba? You've seen it in our country, you've seen it everywhere. So if you could just tell us like maybe a story or two about what you've seen on the ground and how they can really innovate, para lang ma-inspire ang ating audience.
Yeah, definitely. So, ano ba? Well, first of all, I am from the grassroots,
Yeah, there
actually.
you go. Siya na ang
Yeah.
inspiration.
I came from Mindanao, taga Mindanao ako, and yeah, I mean, I've seen how it really is done on the ground, so I can have a lot of experience about it. But I think one of the inspiring personality, or I would say an organization, or and also a startup actually, is what we call Rise Up Philippines in Pampanga. So I'm not so sure if you've heard of them, but yung ano nila, yung premise nila is that the farmers, yung kanilang problem is that palaging nalulugi, gano'n naman eh, palaging nalulugi or like walang natitira sa pamilya and they don't have access to banking, they don't have access to the knowledge on how to do their finances, technology, paano nila i-market yung kanilang mga ang products and how to do paano pa mapapalago yung kanilang farming. So ang nangyari dito, they created this Rise Up organization and yung first na ginawa nila is more on education with the farmers. So because of this education with the farmers, dami nilang mga modules and mostly about how to have a mindset of a businessman when you are a farmer. So in that case, parang nag-iba yung shift, nag-shift yung, na-empower yung mga farmers na, okay, I'm just not a farmer, I'm actually a businessman. And um, in that experience, ngayon, of course, marami na sila ngayong ibang mga ginagawa. I think they're developing an app already um, for their organization para ibenta din nila yung kanilang mga products. But the fact is that they gave the farmers opportunity to know how to manage their farms, to be a businessman, at the same time to know technology, kung paano i-integrate yung technology sa kanilang farming. I think it was really a very successful. I think if you Google Rise Up Philippines, they're very successful. They have a lot of awards. And their founder is very young, Elvin Lasenda. He's very young and like
Okay, yeah, I know
yeah,
Elvin.
and
I
they
know
are
Elvin.
I think Elvin. So ayun, I say that's a very good example kasi nga I've never seen someone so young and so ang daming niyang na impact na farmers, and it's not just in Pampanga now, meron din silang sa Davao, and eventually nag-shift din, nandun din sila ngayon sa Cambodia. I think meron silang meron silang restaurant, Rise Up restaurant. So it's like, you can definitely impact someone or people in the grassroots, and especially financial inclusion, very important kasi yun yung lacking pa ngayon sa grassroots. Mahirap mitigate ng pera or to know how to handle your finances there. So maybe if you are doing some innovation, then you can look into that. And also, I would like to point out as well na pwede rin kayong maghanap ng inspiration sa ating SDGs. Yun.
Yes.
So, there are a lot of mga social issues there.
Yeah.
Maybe baka ma-inspire kayo doon to look into certain issues and apply it and, do research it in your own community kung meron bang ganong issues. Then talk to them. So, yun.
I have a question for Gladys.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Ano yung kailangan natin gawin so that our schools, whether senior high schools or universities, equip young Filipinos to begin to respect and have confidence in their own ideas. No, kasi tama ka no, and I understand where you're coming from. Parang napaka Manila centric, 'di ba, na often we assume that the best idea parang palagi always second rate by default yung ideas that come from outside of Manila, no, parang palaging first class yung ideas in yung schools sa Manila, and then outside parang second class yung ideas and the quality of ano. How do we help reverse that mindset, and what can schools how can schools help in uh, disabusing the students from that assumption, na false assumption?
Oh, ang hirap naman yun, sir. Actually, I have some ideas. Charot, nagano pala dito, nakaka-fun.
Go lang! We encourage ideas.
Hindi, because I was thinking talaga, there are a lot, yung pinaka-untap organizations or ano ba to? Pinaka-untap na mga, I would say, organizations in these schools ay yung mga student organizations. So, di ba student organizations always have projects? So, why not encourage those projects to have impact even in their communities? You know, it's not just for their school or para sa Graceland. Like, for example, if you are having a science club, so why not do a science experiments for communities? You know, apply those knowledge to your communities. I think like simple solutions as that, or maybe um talk about leadership in your in these areas. Because I think isa rin sa mga lacking natin is having those kind of leadership. When we talk about leadership in the grassroots, sasabihin talaga politiko. That's the only thing that we know about leadership. Pero nawawala yung mga leadership in solving problems. Nawala yung leadership in like the innovation, or maybe being a business person is not even a leadership in kung nasa baba ka, nasa grassroots ka, hindi considered as leader kung businessman ka. But actually you can be a leader in that area. So ayun, I think exercising those leadership skills and also those maybe experiments or some activities with the community, and makikita talaga nila ang results, di ba? Like for example, kung very easy clean up drive, di ba nakikita nila agad yung results? So that's just a very easy parang activity, but they can do more. They can tap into more ideas pa. And why not do this kind of activities? If you're a teacher, maybe why not do these activities, And so yeah, that's one of the things that I was thinking about. Also, isa pa. Also, kasi media ako, meron kaming pinapilot ngayon eh. Actually, I really love this pilot project that we have. So, sa student publication as well, wala, mostly traditional media yung nasa natin, yung news, features, stuff like that. Pero, we don't see some stories about solutions in your community, how it impact people. So, merong tawag dyan eh, it's called solutions journalism. So, yun yung sinusulong namin ngayon. Actually, in terms of student publications, we wanted to empower publications to create those solutions journalism stories. So, kung you're interested, you can just chat me and also like maybe email info@theinsider.com. They're very open to have trainings, internships. See you.
Ako naman, sir, mayroon akong question for you.
Okay.
Because somebody actually on Facebook asked, no? So baka you can shed some light on it as well, coming from Civica. So can you share hard metrics, or that funders, or I guess organizations such as yourself, the hard metrics that organizations are looking at, or hard metrics that teams should be targeting in order to increase the likelihood of getting funded, or even just kind of getting through to the next phase, not even necessarily funded, but sort of getting past competitions like this? What hard metrics can we start considering?
I think that's a good question, no? And I will answer not based on our little activity for the next few weeks, no, but trying a strategy that I think might increase probability of getting real traction, no? Ang feeling ko, they should try to work with local finance institutions, no? So go to the local co-op or the local rural bank and interview the bank manager. Try to understand the clients that they have, no? Are these farmers who borrow from them or ganyan, no? Kasi itong the co-ops or rural banks, they already have millions in assets. Diba? And I think the teams can ask them, manager, ano ba yung problema ninyo? Diba? Is it collection? Is it ganyan? O ano yung mga problema nung pinapahiram ninyo? Diba? The borrowers. Oo nga, kasi nahihirapan sila mag-coordinate. Yung bahay nila sa Manila, ganyan daw. No? So I think by doing that, they will be working on a specific gap in a value chain where there is already cash flow. No? And they're talking to diba, the financial institution that has money and related risks. Diba? Risks related to that gap. So if you were able to solve, diba? So kung kunwari may design na sila or may prototype, ay may concept na, I suggest they pitch it to the manager or the decision maker. Sir, pwede bang balik kami sa inyo after 3 weeks kasi ipa-project namin to, and then hingi kami ng advice sa inyo, no? But ang strategy doon is you say you're asking for, sabi nila, if you ask for money, you get advice. If you ask for advice, sometimes you get money, no? So sabi, hihingi ho kami ng advice sa inyo. So you get to pitch your idea, manager, ito yung naisip namin, no? Ganyan. What if, di ba, meron tayong text reminder bago, blah, 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 no? And then yun, no, yung the manager might recognize the validity of parts of your solution. So, okay yan, iho, pero pwede bang ganito? Diba? O di malalim na yung conversation. Traction na yun eh. No?
Yeah.
And you are, I think, closer to some funding because you're solving the problem of somebody who has money. No? And local. No? I mean, yun. No? And they say, pahingi nga ng cellphone number mo para ano, pwede ka bang mag-present sa next meeting namin sa manto namin? Di ba? So, off the top of my head, that is, one way that gets them close to money nearby.
Yeah. And I suppose that also increases no yung parang viability ng solution nila if they regularly interact with their would-be customers or their would-be market.
Also, it's generalizable. No, yung the findings from the rural bank in their own city, may pagka-generalizable yun. Many other rural banks in other provinces are also facing similar problems.
Yeah.
So it's also scalable outside of the local market, I think.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Well, thank you to the both of you for giving your insights on this. And again, I just, before I allow you guys to kind of give your final remarks, I just want to again invite everyone to participate in our financial inclusion challenge. I will show again here the website where you can go to sign up. It's going to be a very interesting. Deadline is to register is on November 20, and we have around 3 weeks of interesting sessions and learning sessions and mentorship sessions, so that we can really help you develop and your innovation. Okay. At this point, don't be scared kung wala pa kayong prototype, parang that's what the sessions are for. That's how we're going to really develop and help you guys scale. So again, thank you to you both. I'll allow you, so if you guys have any kind of parting words, insights, inspirational messages to the people who will be developing solutions for this challenge or for any other future financial inclusion problems in the future. Sir Elmer, I'll start with you.
Okay, thanks. So we're really happy that we're partnering with PhilDev for this. No, and this is the first phase. I hope in a longer journey with PhilDev Foundation and the partner universities. No, so ang message ko sa mga viewers, student teams, no, is if you find this intriguing, one, consider doing this next semester. No, you always have term papers or projects that you need to do, so you can pursue this And because it's financial inclusion, I would like to think that yun nga, you are somewhat close to other actors who have finances kasi financial sector ito eh, no? And then I suggest that you pitch so that we are designing the financial inclusion lab to be a portable platform. So we would very much like to see a financial inclusion lab in Silliman University, in Cebu Normal University. We imagine that there ought to be at least one financial inclusion lab per region in the first couple of years, and then per province, no, so that we can go deep into the financial inclusion gaps per province, no. So we would like to think that over time all provinces will have a university that has a financial inclusion lab that will become the local think tank, engaging in grassroots level co-innovation, co-design, um, and so that more and more Filipinos will have the relevant financial services at their fingertips kahit na hindi sila high income households.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sir Elmer. Miss Gladys, anything to say?
Yeah, sure. Thank you again for inviting me here. It's very nice to talk about grassroots and grassroots innovations, and also especially financial inclusion kasi hindi siya masyadong pinag-uusapan ngayon. And hopefully our audience, especially business students, it's very interesting. This is a very interesting like a hackathon, or I would say like a challenge, because then you can apply all those knowledge that you have in school. So ayun, hopefully you'll join, and also do your research and do some immersions. As Sir Elmer said, talk to those people who could help you or who you could help with, so that mas ano siya, you'll have a greater chance to get the finances, or you get the prices that you want or something. Also, ano pa ba? Hopefully you'll also think about those who you will impact. Very important. Kasi then you have more credibility, and also you'll have to be proud of yourself to be creating this type of solutions that really has impact to our communities. So, yun.
Thank you. So again, thank you, Sir Elmer, Miss Gladys, for joining us today. And we invite all of the audience who will watch this, who are watching, to join the Financial Inclusion Innovation Lab. And to all the tech hubs, we are still open for roadshows, so we can kind of replicate, not necessarily with the same speakers, but we can replicate the session in and really go direct to your students. So please contact us for if you still want to sign up for roadshows, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you, po.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey. Stop. Thank you. Thank you, po, sir. Thank you,
Thanks,
sir,
thanks,
so
everyone.
much for joining us.
Okay,
Thanks, Sam
thanks,
and
thanks, Sam.
Triksha. Bye, po.
Bye.
Thank you, Sir Elmer. Thank you, Ms.
Thanks, Sam.